हरे कृष्ण। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा माधव बिहारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जन यमुना तीरवनचारी। यमुना तीरवनचारी। जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। जय राधा जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपीजन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी। यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जना यशोदानन्दन व्रज जन रञ्जना यमुना तीरावनचारी। यमुना तीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरे। जय श्री हरिनाम संकीर्तन की जय। श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की। नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भक्तिः उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Hare Krishna. So we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 11, Text 33. एवं विधेरहोरात्रैः कालगत्योपलक्षितैः अपक्षितम् इवास्यापि परमायुर्वयः शतम्। एवं विधेरहोरात्रैः कालगत्योपलक्षितैः अपक्षितम् इवास्यापि परमायुर्वयः शतम्। एवं विधेरहोरात्रैः कालगत्योपलक्षितैः अपक्षितम् इवास्यापि परमायुर्वयः शतम्। Mataji's. Evam, thus, vidhai, by the process of ahaha, days, ratreh, by night, kalagatya, advancement of time, upalakshitai, by such symptoms, apakshitam, declined, eva, just like, asya, his, api, although, paramayuhu, duration of life, vayaha, years, shatam, 100. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada ki jai. Thus, the process of the exhaustion of the duration of life exists for every one of the living beings, including Lord Brahma. One's life endures for only 100 years in terms of the times in the different planets. Purport: every living being lives for 100 years in terms of the time in different planets for different entities. These 100 years of life are not equal in every case. The longest duration of 100 years belongs to Brahma, but although the life of Brahma is very long, it expires in the course of time. Brahma is also afraid of his death, and thus he performs devotional service to the Lord just to release himself from the clutches of illusory energy. Animals, of course, have no sense of responsibility, but even humans who have developed a sense of responsibility while away their valuable time without engaging in devotional service to the Lord. They live merrily unafraid of impending death. This is the madness of human society. The madman has no responsibility in life. Similarly, a human being who does not develop a sense of responsibility before he dies is no better than the madman who tries to enjoy material life very happily without concern for the future. It is necessary that every human being be responsible in preparing himself for the next life, even if he has a duration of life like that of Brahma, the greatest of all living creatures within the universe. ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाखया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातान् सहगणा रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनासहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगणा ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवी गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्ण हरे हरे Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, we welcome everyone to our daily Srimad Bhagavatam class. And this third canto, 11th chapter, we are discussing the calculation of time from the atomic time to the Param Mahan time, from the Paramanu time to the Param Mahan time. The entire span of calculation of time is being discussed here. So, in whatever time we have, we will discuss about this infinite time that is described in this the time of Brahma and the time of the sun passing through the atom, the Paramanu time. So we'll try to discuss something so that we can use our time in remembrance of the Lord. And as Bhagavatam says, Ayur harti vaipumsam udyan astyan chayan aso tasya rite yachano nitam uttama shloka vartaya. The rising and setting of the sun, it steals away the precious life duration of every living being, except for those who utilize that time to discuss about the glories and activities of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because while discussing this Hari Katha, by chanting the Hari Katha, by chanting the holy names, when we are engaging in these activities, we are progressing towards eternal life, because we are performing the activities of eternity. And therefore, rather than diminishing our time, it expands our time and leads us towards eternity. So with the blessings of all Vaishnavas, I would try to discuss something. It's a very, very elaborate subject matter. And last couple of days, I was trying to scan through Bhagavatam about what does Bhagavatam speak about the understanding of time. And I was, first of all, the volume of the things which Bhagavatam speaks, it's so overwhelming. So pardon me if I'm, a little bit off the track sometimes. But it's very fascinating the way the Bhagavatam explains the Kala, the time factor. So here it is mentioned that in this way, the time duration exhausts for every living being. This is the process. And even for Brahmaji, this is the way. Time is exhausted. The 100 years of Brahmaji, 311 trillion years, they also are exhausted. Just as we have experience of whatever duration of our life getting exhausted, so Brahmaji also goes through the same experience. So in this way, what does it mean in this way? So I would like to tell you a story of how this time gets exhausted. So there is a very powerful king. This king, he resides, he has this kingdom of Panchal. He is a Panchal Naresh, very, very powerful king. And he has, by collecting taxes, by increasing his army and his strength, he has become very powerful. He has expanded his kingdom, his influence over vast territories of land. The sun never sets in his kingdom, so to speak. So he has increased his influence, this king of Panchal, the Panchal Naresh. And with all the facilities come also enjoyment. So he has a very, very beautiful wife, and he gets married. He has a very beautiful wife, and with his wife, he has a lot of luxurious time, and he has 1100 sons and 110 daughters in due course of time. So he's very happy that he has the ideal family, very faithful and chaste wife, and a lot of children to carry forward his kingdom. It's a very vast kingdom, so therefore he needs 1100 sons and daughters. So, however, there is a catch. Every story has a twist. So this Panchal Naresh, he has a problem. Every year his kingdom is attacked by an invader. This invader's name is, he's a Gandharva king coming from the Gandharva regions, and his name is Chandaveg. So every year, Chandaveg, he brings his army and attacks this kingdom. However, we know that Panchal Naresh is very strong king, and he has very closely guarded all of his territory with a lot of surveillance mechanisms, and so he's very secured. So every year the attack happens. Gandharva Raj Chandaveg, he attacks with his army of 360 Gandharvas and 360 Gandharvis. So he has female members in his army too. So he attacks every year. But somehow, the king, Panchal Naresh, is able to fend off those attacks, especially because his city is guarded by a mystical serpent. His city is guarded by a 5-hooded mystical serpent. So, Panchal Naresh is very, very assured that this Gandharva Raj or whoever it is cannot harm my kingdom. So he is very, very happy, comfortable in his kingdom. He has no fear. So he's happily expanding his kingdom, enjoying his influence and his prosperity. However, then there's another twist. Seeing that her father is fighting so hard every year, but he's unable to defeat this king, the daughter of Chandaveg, she has a revenge fantasy that my father is again and again, trying, and he's being defeated, and he's humiliated. So then she thinks that I will avenge. So this daughter of Chandaveg, of Gandharva king, so she is, as her name is Kala Kanya or Jara. So she is thinking of ways of how she could, further her plans. So one interesting thing about this Kala Kanya, or the daughter of Chandaveg, is that she's not very beautiful, not very charming. She's the opposite of all of that. She's ugly. She's unmarried. No one has ever accepted her proposal. So he has sent her proposals on every portal, shadi.com and everywhere, but her proposals have not been accepted. So she goes to Narad Muni. Narad Muni, a great sage, and he says that, look, everyone is selfish, no one is marrying me, so why don't you marry me? So Narad Muni, he says that, look, my life is dedicated to service of the Supreme Lord, so I cannot marry you. But I can suggest you means. I will suggest you go and marry the king of the Yavanas. The king of Yavanas, who is fear personified. You go and marry this personality, Yavan Raj Bhaya. But hearing this, Kala Kanya is not very happy because her proposal has been turned down once again, and that too from a person whom she expected would be selfless. Only one person in the past had accepted her proposal, and that was King Puru, the son of Yayati. He accepted her proposal to accept her as his wife. And she thought that Narad Muni should also be selfless like Puru, so he should also accept me. But because he rejected her proposal, so she cursed him that now you can't stay in one place, which means you have to keep on traveling from one place to another, which is actually a blessing in disguise for Narad Muni, because now, as Sa Godohan Matram Hi Graheshu Graha Medinam, that the saintly people, they don't want to get settled in one place. They don't want to get attached to one place, physical location, or a kingdom, or a place of influence. They just want to go and distribute the mercy of the Lord, because Tirthi Kurvanti Tirthani, Swantha Stena Gadabrita, because they are carrying Krishna in their hearts. So the saintly people, the more they travel, the better it is for the world. So actually her curse becomes a blessing for Narad Muni. So then she proceeds, she goes to the king of Yavanas, the fear personified, and she says that look, I am not going to go anywhere now. You are, the buck stops here. You have to marry me. And Yamanraj, he thinks that, okay, this Narad Muni's order. So he says that, okay, together, you, me, and, there's one more personality. There is a person called Prajwara. So you accept Prajwara as your brother, and you accept me as your brother, and together we will attack that powerful king, whom you have been considering to take revenge from. So you will, ek tir se do nishan. You will get married to this king Puranjan. Okay, I told the name, right? So this is the king, Puranjan, Panchal Naresh. So you will get married to this king, and at the same time you will be able to destroy him. So she accepts Prajwara and Bhaya as her brothers, and then she proceeds to attack this kingdom of Panchal Naresh Puranjan. And Puranjan, so far, every year he has been fending off the attack of this Gandharvaraj, the 360 soldiers. But this time, now with the combined attack of fear, personified Bhaya, Yavanraj, attack of Prajwara and Jara. Now it is very difficult, and we know that when the city of Mathura was attacked by Yavanraj and Jarasan simultaneously, even Sri Krishna, he moved all the Mathura Vasis to Dwarka. But Puranjan didn't have that facility. So this attack became very fierce. So basically, now we have discussed this allegory. But what is this allegory? Because this verse here mentions that in this way the life gets exhausted. So in this way is expanded, just the word, this phrase, in this way. What does in this way mean? So in the Puranjan Upakhyan, it is described in great detail. Like there are several chapters, 5 chapters describing how the conditioned living entities' time gets, exhausted. So how does it get exhausted? So you see here the Puranjan, who is king of Panchal. Panchal means, actually there are 2 names. One is Navadwarapura. It is a city of 9 gates. Another name is Panchal. Panchal because it is a city of 5 senses. Because this king enjoys everything through the 5 senses. So eyes, ears, taste, touch, smell. So in this kingdom of 5 senses, Puranjan, the king, is enjoying. And through his wife, which is the conditioned intelligence, so he has accepted the conditioned intelligence as his wife, which is scheming day in and day out to increase his enjoyment. So the 1100 sons and 110 daughters, they depict his different ways of his enjoying. And then he's collecting taxes, which means that there are no free lunches. So he also works hard to achieve and earn his enjoyment. So he collects taxes, increases his influence. So he's working hard to increase his influence so that he can enjoy more and more. However, every year he's being attacked. Amidst all of this enjoyment, he's being attacked by the Gandharva king, who has 360 soldiers, male and female. So this enjoyment actually is stealing away his life. The 360 soldiers are the men soldiers is the day, and the female soldiers are the nights. So in a year there are 360 days, 360 nights. So the days and nights in which Puranjan is enjoying, actually invisibly his life is being stolen away. As we discussed, Ayur Harti Vaipumsam. But he's powerful enough to fend off this attack of every year. So happy birthday, Puranjanji. So he's 18 years old. He doesn't know what is disease. He doesn't know what is, fatigue. He's very strong. Why? Because his body is being guarded. His kingdom is being guarded by the 5-hooded serpent, which is the Prana Vayu. Pran, Apan, Udan, Saman, Vayan. The 5 life years are guarding this kingdom, and therefore he's fearless. So he has another happy birthday. One more year passes, 19, 20, 21, 25, 30, 35, 40. So he's still strong. His senses are still strong because they are being guarded by the five-hooded serpent, the Pranavayus. However, now, so far, the Gandharva, so his enjoyment is gradually stealing away his life. But now, when this Kala Kanya, the daughter of Kala, which means Jwara, which means uh, Kalakanya, or what is the name? No. Kalakanya's other name is so Kalakanya, the dot, which is old age. When old age attacks him, which has been so old age along with bhaya, fear of losing everything that he has amassed, that fear accompanied with old age, jara. Jara is basically Kalakanya, and Jwara, which means disease and fever. So when all of these attack together simultaneously, then he cannot any longer hold his ground in his kingdom. He starts losing his influence. He starts losing his kingdom. All of those 1100 sons and daughters, now they stop respecting him any longer. So he is not respected any longer. In fact, they start plundering his kingdom, which he had achieved with all of his hard labor. And what to speak of that, now he cannot enjoy anything. He's unable to even maintain his body. He's unable to eat. He's unable to digest. So in this way, finally, this struggle for existence keeps on happening. And finally, with this combined attack of bhaya, fear of losing everything, the anxiety and fear of losing everything, it actually accelerates one's old age and diseases. So this fear accompanied with by the attack of old age and that of diseases, along with time passing by, this Puranjan, he becomes completely, his serpent, the five-hooded serpent, the Pranavayu, they become very weak. And this serpent, finally the body is set with the fire of fever. And with this fever, as we know that when there is a fire in the forest, the serpents, they start scrambling to get out of the forest. So this life air can no longer tolerate the fever. And the life air, the Pranavayus, they move out of the body. And Puranjan leaves his body, but how? Thinking of all of his kingdom, thinking of his wife and his property and his children. And so in the next life, he is again born as a woman, Puranjani. Because he died thinking of his wife, so next life he takes birth thinking as a woman. However, next life, good fortune arises. He gets married to a devotee, and then, basically he gets a spiritual master, and then he perfects his life. So basically this is just a short anecdote, an allegory to understand when this verse says that in this way everyone's lifespan gets exhausted. How does it get exhausted? The Puranjan Upakhyan is the story which tells us how exactly things happen. So now further reflecting on this time factor, knowing that this time is the greatest, especially the human form of life that we have received, we don't want to repeat the mistake of Puranjan, right? We want to make use of this greatest benediction of human form of life. So let's discuss something about, what is our relationship with time and how we can make the most out of the greatest resource, the greatest asset that we have at our disposal, which is this time in the human form of life. Life is basically, when you say someone's life means date of death minus date of birth, right? You say so and so great personality, Gandhiji, 1869 to 1948, right? So what is life? 1948 minus 1869. Which means life is equal to time. So the greatest asset that we have is the human form of life, and which is equivalent to the time that is at our disposal. So what is our relationship with this time and how we can make the most out of this? So this is the topic for our further discussion. So now in this world, the relationship with time is depends on what is our motivation in life. And Now, motivation is a big buzzword today. Everyone wants motivation. So today's motivation is real deep. Mm. People see a motivational video, 30 seconds, they get motivated and only to get distracted into something else after 30 seconds. While they are watching the reel, they are very motivated to do something, whether it is health, whether it is studies, and then after sakale neha, so it fizzles out. But the Vedas, they go very deeper, much deeper in what motivation is. And this is a concept which all of us have heard. It is the concept of Purusharthas. Purusharthas means that which will make someone to endeavor and work hard. That is Purusha. Purusha means to work, to do some endeavor, some labor. And Artha is the purpose for which you will work hard. So there are 4 reasons for which people will work hard in this world to attain it. So what are those 4 motivations? Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha. Now, when the basic, the most primitive or rudimentary among them is Kama. All the urge for pleasure, which we see even in the animals. They are purely motivated by Kam or seeking pleasure. But as even amongst animals, they get a realization that this world is a world of survival of the fittest. So I cannot gain calm just like that. I cannot gain my objects of sense enjoyment, freely. I need to struggle for it, which means I need to have power. I need to have influence. So, born in a group of monkeys is an alpha male monkey. So who actually, by his violence and his power, he gets to enjoy more, right? So to get objects of sense gratification, one needs power or artha. So you graduate from desire for pleasure. You realize pleasure you can't get freely. You need power to obtain the pleasure. But then, when you get human intelligence, you realize that even this power, getting power by hook or crook, is not sustainable. And even to get this artha, you need to perform dharma or piety. Why? Because even if you look at business houses which have sustained over generations. So there are many companies which have come up. They just crop up. They are successful they have a very short shelf life. 50% of the companies which were in the Fortune 500 list in the year 1950, they don't even exist today. Like 50% of the companies which were the top 500 companies of the world, they don't even exist. There's no name, which is even name is not there, right? Which means that there are many business houses, there are many people who may become rich, but their richness will not sustain even in their lifetime, what to speak of generations after generations. So those who are more intelligent, they realize that to sustain my wealth across generations, and not just across generations, but across lifetimes, I need to perform piety, which means dharma. Only because only when there is dharma, then I will get the pious credits for wealth to come in my life naturally. So that is how then people understand that I also need to perform charity, some sacrifices, works of religion, etc. But then beyond this, you'll realize that actually even for dharma there has to be someone who has set the codes of dharma, right? So dharma means the laws which govern humanity. But who has made the laws? Who is the lawmaker behind all of these laws? So then you realize that this world is more or less like a prison where there are laws for the prisoners. Just being in a better prison is not a good idea. So better to get out of this prison and go back to the lawmaker. So this is the purushartha or motivation of moksha. Now, what is your relationship with time depends on what is your motivation. So people with the motivation of artha, kama, dharma or moksha will have different relationship with their time. And they will have different complaints about time. Because actually we are in this prison house of time, because time has imprisoned all of us in this material world. So just as if you go to a yatra, depending on what a person is seeking, what is their motivation is, they will have different complaints to make in the feedback form. Prasad was not hot, or the items got over before time when we reached. So depending on your motivation in going for that yatra, what motivated you the most, your feedback form will have the corresponding points. Or say, someone would say ki the rooms were not very good. There were problems in the room. AC nahi chal raha tha, geyser nahi chal raha tha. Someone else may say that, oh, there were so many of these spots which you didn't take us. This temple, which is a very popular temple, sometimes in the yatra, some people say ki in Vrindavan, you are not taking us to Prem Mandir, you are not taking us to these spots, everyone comes to Vrindavan for these spots. So then, people have different conceptions of what a yatra means. So then accordingly, they will have something written in their feedback forms. And if someone is fortunate, they will say, oh, if only the katha could have been an hour longer, right? So depending on what is one's motivation, one will share the corresponding complaint, right? So depending on what is our motivation amongst dharma, artha, kama and moksha, we will have different complaints about this yatra of Jivan Yatra, the yatra of life. So those who are having the primitive motivation of calm, what is their complaint? I am getting bored. I don't know how to kill time. Right? College students, they are always, I want to kill time. I'm getting so bored. This professor is always boring us. So the student is talking to the phone. And the professor is seeing, he comes close, and as soon as he's about to say something, she says, look, na, this professor is distracting me. I'll get back to you. So, newer and newer ways of killing time are coming. Games are there, video games are there, mobile games are there. People are inventing newer and newer ways, Netflix, etc. So many ways are there of killing time. But we don't realize that we are not killing time. Time is killing us. If we think of how to do time pass, time will pass, but we might fail in the purpose of our life. So this is the complaint of someone who is just motivated by pleasure. That I just want to enjoy. I just want to have fun. And if they don't get the fun they require or they expect, then I'm getting bored. There's not enough fun in life, or why does the fun end so fast? So the philosophy of the ice cream, that enjoy it before it melts. So that is the complaint that people may have, I'm getting bored. But now, let's see where the Bhagavatam meets these people. Because the Bhagavatam gives certain principles, certain insights to each of these four people who are at these different level of motivations to uplift them to a higher understanding. So Bhagavatam says that you don't kill time, time kills you. Ayur harti vaipamsam udyan asyanchayan aso tasya riteya chhanonitam uttama shloka vartaya, that every rising and setting of the sun is stealing away our most precious time. And if we don't utilize our time, then the talent which could be converted to treasure, it gets converted to trash. So talent, instead of becoming treasure, it becomes trash because of laziness, because of procrastination. So Krishna says, Tamastu ajnanajam vidhi mohanam sarva dehinam pramad alasya nidrabhi tan nibadnanti bharata. So one loses out on the opportunity that one has. So we have this acronym of time. What the Bhagavatam says, you don't kill time, time kills you. T stands for terminator. So time is the terminator who terminates everyone. As Krishna says in the Gita, Kalosmi loka kshaya krita pravriddho. I am the destroyer of all the worlds. Kalaha kalayatam asmi. Among those who destroy, I am time. And Narad Muni, he tells that Kala Chakram Brahmi Tikshnam. That is, time is a Kala Chakra, and this chakra has very fierce, sharp blades. And these blades, they cut all of one's accumulations, achievements, and belongings. So that's the understanding of the time which Srimad Bhagavatam gives, that you may not realize, but invisibly time is removing and plundering all of your accomplishments, achievements, and possessions. And one doesn't even realize the passing away of time. So, in the 10th canto, this chapter of the description of the rainy and autumn season, it is mentioned that just as in the autumn season there are shallow body of waters, and with the sun coming, the water is evaporated. But the fishes within that water, they don't realize that how gradually the water is getting evaporated until finally there's no more water and they die. So similarly, the conditioned living entity is in his or her own world unable to realize that how gradually the time clock you have that is diminishing. So that is the first understanding which Bhagavatam gives us, that time is a terminator. Now the next is artha. So guess what is the complaint of people whose motivation is artha or earning power? Because these people, they know, in order to get pleasure, I need power. And even beyond pleasure, the greatest pleasure is that not of the senses, but of the ego. So these are people who are into increasing their influence. So their crib or their grudge or their complaint is that I don't have enough time. I'm very busy. I want to accomplish so much, but I am unable to do so because of lack of time. So this is the complaint of those who are pursuing artha. I don't have enough time. Wish I had more time. I could achieve and accomplish so much more. Right? So this is, as the previous one was driven by tamogun, this one is driven by rajogun. As Krishna says, rajo ragatmakam vidhi trishna sanga samudbhava. Raga, the desire to earn and achieve more and more. So this endless desires, they drive these people to attain more and more. So now, in order for them to, like, Bhagavatam also appeals to them, because Bhagavatam says time is not just a terminator, time is also you can see time as an investment. Time, when you see that time is a limited resource, and the way you invest time will determine what value you derive in life. Time is precious. Time is a limited resource. When you realize that it is a limited resource, you become conscious of it, and then you start planning of how to utilize this precious resource. If you don't, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So therefore, Bhagavatam says that time is a very, very valuable resource. Labdhva sudurlabhamidam bahu sambhavante manushyam arthadam anityam apiha dhira. It is temporary, it is transient, but it is arthadam. It can give you the greatest benefits, right? So Bhagavatam tells that it is an investment that we need to make. Make those investments wisely. Now, talking of investment, wearing the hat of an investor, how does an investor invest? We talk of managing our time, right? We talk of time management. But you can't manage time because time is Krishna. You can't manage Krishna. So similarly, an investor, he can't manage the markets. He has to change his portfolio based on the market. Whatever, whether I should be a bear or a bull, depending on what is the market situation, right? So similarly, we can't manage time. Time manages us. The best we can do is to align with the time. So our day is divided into, the 24 hours is divided into 3 phases. One is predominated by goodness, second by passion, third by ignorance. So night 12, midnight 12 to morning 8 is the time predominated by goodness. From 8 to 4 in the afternoon, it is predominated by passion. And 4 to midnight, again, it is predominated by ignorance. Of course, there are shades of other modes also, but grossly speaking. So when we align our energies to time which is bringing, sattvagun, rajogun, or tamogun, when we align our energies according to the time factor and we invest appropriately, so when the market of goodness is going up, we invest in activities of goodness. When the market of passion is going up, we invest in the activities of passion. And when the market of ignorance is going up, we invest in the activities of ignorance. Right? So we can't manage the markets. We have to manage our portfolio. So 12 to 8, from night 12 to 8 is the time of goodness. So that is a time you can get direction in life. So the vehicle of life, it needs three things. The car of life, it needs direction, it needs speed, and it needs repair. Right? The car also needs repair. So 12 to 8, midnight 12 to morning 8 is the time, especially the Brahma Muhurat time, if we utilize it properly in prayer, in meditation, for some focused work, for mental and physical wellness, spiritual wellness, we will get the direction in life. And when you have the right direction, even a few steps you move, you are assured you are moving in the right direction. But if you don't utilize that time of the morning, then what happens? Then calamity strikes when you go into the second phase, which is the passion. Passion gives you speed. But imagine if you are going with full speed towards an accident, right? That is disastrous. So therefore, passion, it gives you speed. But if it is tempered with the direction of goodness, then that speed is actually beneficial, is it not? So this helps us in execution. This time, so the morning time will help us in direction. The afternoon time gives us, empowers us for execution. And the night time, basically the time from 4 in the evening that we start winding down, 4 to 12, is a time to wind yourself down, to rejuvenate yourself. And Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita that you have yukta hara viharasya, yukta cheshta swakarmasu, yukta swapnava bodhasya, yoga bhavati dukkhaha. If you want to remove all the miseries of your life, Krishna gives a very simple formula. Yukta ahar, vihara, cheshta karma, and swapna, which means you have to invest time for basically two things. In terms of modern neuroscience, they say that we have a sympathetic nervous system and parasympathetic nervous system. So the sympathetic nervous system is when you are working on a project, you are doing something like basically we call defense, eating, sleeping, mating, defending. When you are defending your occupation, you are working, that time the sympathetic nervous system, which is about fight and flight response, that is activated. Where all of you are very active, alert, which is basically the daytime, the time when we are working hard. So he says that you have to balance this with what all three things? Ahar, which means food, nourishing the body. Vihar, which means nourishing the mind. And swapna, which means sleep. So in terms of neuroscience, they say it is the parasympathetic nervous system. And they say when the sympathetic nervous system is fight and flight, parasympathetic nervous system is rest, digest, and relax. So Krishna is saying that when you balance these two, when you balance your work, the energy of passion with the energy of goodness and the energy of ignorance, which is a resting energy, then your work becomes rejuvenating, and the work becomes, you can go into the state of flow, the state of homeostasis, as they say. So anyhow, like there's so much of wisdom for health and wellness also in the Bhagavad Gita. So when you understand that time is an investment and you invest based on the market conditions, based on whatever energy the time factor is bringing, the energy of goodness, passion, and ignorance, you invest accordingly, then that increases your productivity. So yes, these people who are looking for artha, they are looking for productivity. So yes, Bhagavatam and Gita, they give them the sutras for improving the productivity. Now the third thing is dharma or piety. Now those people who are looking for dharma and piety, what could their complaint be? Now, because in the previous stage, they were so busy for acquiring and, accomplishing things, doing things, that instead of being, human beings, we have become human doings. Busy doing so many things that we forgot to live. So there's, earning a living, but we forgot living a life. We were working so hard, earning a living, but that we forgot living the life. So therefore, when you further evolve in your consciousness, you realize that ultimately all of these accomplishments and achievements are not going to satisfy the heart, right? In Artha, person is trying to, love things and use people. But when you come to Dharma, you realize I need to love people and use things in their service. So this is the mindset of Dharma or piety. So here, the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita, they tell us the third understanding of time. The first was time as terminator, which alerts those who are in ignorance, who are just killing their time, that you are not killing time, time is killing you. Then the second is those who are wanting to earn power and position. So for them, Bhagavatam, Gita say that, time is an investment. Align yourself, your energy as per the time. And then the third is for those who are looking for dharma or piety, Bhagavatam reveals the third aspect of time, which is time is memory. Time, if you think about it, whatever time we have lived in this world, what is it right now? It is all of those impressions and memories that we have accumulated. And as Krishna says, yam yam vapi smarana bhavam tyajate ante kalevaram. At the time of death, whatever memories we have accumulated, they will determine our future destination. So time is equivalent to memories. So in this world, people, lose their health to get wealth. And once they have amassed so much wealth by exploiting their health, then they spend all of that wealth to again get back the health, but it doesn't come back. And they say that when wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. But when character is lost, everything is lost. So those who are aspiring for dharma, they realize the importance of character. Because unless you live a life of character, you won't have good memories. You will just have memories of exploitation, but no good memories to cherish. So you could live a life where you have stories to tell or things to show. So those who are just living their life based on artha, or the motivation of pleasure, of power, so they may have things to show that I have achieved this, this is my mansion, this is my big car. But then those who are living a life of dharma, they have stories to tell. Ravana had his entire golden Lanka to show that these are things I have amassed. But then Jatayu, he was defeated, but he had a story to tell. That I laid down my life in the service of Lord Ram, in the service of truth. So those who come to this, evolve their consciousness to come to this consciousness of dharma, they want to accumulate stories to tell. They want experiences to cherish, not just money to count, right? So Bhagavatam reveals that this is the deeper understanding of time. Time is memories, and how do we the way we live our lives is the way is the kind of memories that we will accumulate. So therefore Bhagavatam says that how do we live our lives? Etavad janma safalyam dehinam iha dehishu praner arthe dhiya vacha shreya acharanam sada. That just as Krishna is telling to Balramji, these trees, they are giving their life, their everything for service of others. So the nature is very, very revealing, because Mother Nature is God's nature. And what is God's nature? To give and forgive. And what's man's nature? To get and forget. So Krishna is telling these trees, they are just giving. If you throw a stone, the tree will give you a mango. If you cut it with an axe, it will give you a house to stay or wood to warm yourself up. So basically the tree has a story to tell, a story of how it served others, right? So Krishna is saying that this is the kind of life you can live. You can accumulate these wonderful memories. But then even higher than this is the motivation of moksha. So what is this motivation about? So the first motivation is pleasure, kama. Second is artha, which is power. Third motivation is dharma, which is piety. And the fourth motivation is moksha, which is to pack up from this world and pass out from this world. Right? To pack up and pass out, graduate from this world and, get liberation. So those at this level, they realize that ultimately, even if I attain piety, Brahma Bhuvana Loka Punar Avartino Jana. I may go up to heavenly planets because of my piety. I may have stories to tell. But then again, I have to come back into this miserable material world. And this story is getting repeated over and over again. So I need to go to the spiritual world. So here you see time as its fourth aspect, as the time as the envoy or messenger of the Supreme Lord. Right? So first was time as terminator, second was time as investment, third is time as memories, and fourth is time is the messenger, the envoy of the Supreme Lord. And what does the envoy do? The envoy gives you message from a different kingdom, from a different world. So actually the time that we have in this world, whatever experiences we are going through, we could just see them as happenstance, as just some coincidence which is happening. But in other way, we could also see that behind this thing happening in my life, this situation coming in my life, there's a message coming from Krishna. There's a message coming from God. So you start learning from situations in life. So that you don't go through life, you grow through life, you learn from life. The life becomes a school, a university. So this is the understanding where you open your ears and eyes to learn from what time has to teach us, what situations have to teach us. So here, the time plays the role of an envoy, an illuminator, which gives us realizations. So Nelson Mandela says that I don't lose, I either win or I learn. So whether we, as Krishna says, that sukhe dukhe same kritva, labho labha, jayo jayo, whatever may happen, sukh, dukh, happiness, distress, victory, defeat, whatever happens, we are here to learn and elevate our consciousness. So this is the understanding which Bhagavatam gives us. In the 11th canto, Krishna tells, Atme bhi atmano gopta nirvidyeta yadakilat apramatta idam pashet grastam kala hina jagat. He says that when one realizes that this entire world is under the grips of this Kala Sarpa, seeing this time, this fearful time, the living entity, he realizes that this is not my home and learns his lessons and doesn't want to come back to this material world. So at this, at this point of time, in this evolved consciousness, one realizes that actually this time is an envoy of the Supreme Lord giving me some teachings. And Maitra Rishi in the previous chapter, he says, Purushas tad upadanam atmanam leelaya srajat. That is, time is an instrument of the Lord. And when you have an instrument, when you have a puppet, there's a puppeteer. So whatever things are happening in this world, the world is a puppet. But then behind this, Krishna is playing the strings. So you see the invisible hand of Krishna at this level. And you can and also in the 8th canto, Bali Maharaj, he tells to his soldiers that all of these that the time is not favorable for all of us. When Vamandev usurps everything from Bali Maharaj and his soldiers attack Vamandev, Bali Maharaj says, don't counteract Vamandev. He's the Supreme Lord, and this time factor is currently not favorable. And he says, what is this time factor? This time factor is nothing but the eyelashes of the Supreme Lord. The eyelash of the Supreme Lord, basically when it blinks, when in the Lord's blink, millions of universes are created and destroyed. And so that time factor, the eyelashes of the Supreme Lord, they whip us with the lashes of time. So he says, when we are being whipped by the lashes of the Supreme Lord, you just accept it. So this is the understanding which Bali Maharaj gives his soldiers. So we see these 4 different motivations and 4 different understandings of time. But then there's something higher, isn't it? The 5th motivation is Prema Pumarto Mahan. Beyond dharma, artha and kama and moksha is prema or pure devotion. And here also there's a complaint. Even someone who is on the platform of pure devotion, they have a complaint. And what is that complaint? Manushya janama paya Radha Krishna na bhajiya janiya shuniya vishakainu. Which means I haven't served enough. I haven't served Krishna enough. I have wasted my life in serving the senses. So there's that earnestness, that urgency in the life of a devotee that I need to use my time in service of Krishna, and then one comes to the stage of avyartha kalatvam. So for the devotee, the understanding of time is different. For the devotee, it's not that time is just a terminator, time is just an investment, just as a businessman, I invest and I reap benefits, or time is just to accumulate good memories, or time is just an envoy. A devotee's understanding of time is even deeper. Time is not just a terminator. Time is basically the platform for the devotee to take off. As we see in the life of Dhruv Maharaj, he stepped on the head of death, personified, to rise to the Vaikuntha Viman. So for a devotee, Anta Kale cha Maam eva Smarana Vuktva Kalevaram, the time of death is basically an opportunity for one to remember and go back to the Supreme Lord, to take off for the spiritual world. So time is not just an investment. One sees that time is an instrument of Krishna, and let me also become an instrument of Krishna. Nimitta matra bhava savyasachi. Krishna is saying his Kala Rupa has conquered and defeated all the opponents, and he has killed all the opponents. You just become an instrument of my Kala Shakti. So a devotee just wants to become an instrument of Krishna, and not just, like a businessman, I will invest in this or that. And the third is time as memory. So a devotee is not into accumulating memories. A devotee is, whatever the situation is, how I can meditate on Krishna. Sthavar jangama na dekhi tara murti, sarvatra hai tara ishta deva sfurti. Whatever may happen, good memories, good times, bad times, whatever may come in a devotee's life, one sees how I can see Krishna in this, and I can remember and meditate on Krishna. So time becomes an uddipan, an opportunity to meditate on Krishna. And we have Madhava Tithi Bhakati Janani. So time becomes an uddipan, for example today Ekadashi, to connect to Krishna and meditate on Krishna. And ultimately time is an envoy, but for a devotee, time is nothing but Krishna's embrace. As Kunti Maharani is saying, Vipada Santuta Shashvat, Tatra Tatra Jagat Guru, Bhavato Darshanam Yatsyad, Apunar Bhava Darshanam. She is seeing the calamities, but she is seeing that in this calamity, I am seeing the darshan of Krishna, I am getting the embrace of Krishna. So it is worth it to go through these calamities to experience the embrace and the darshan of Krishna. So this is the understanding of a devotee, that whatever is happening in my life, I have full faith in Krishna. Krishna is orchestrating it, and just as the mouse in the mouth of a cat and the kitten in the mouth of a cat, for a devotee feels that protection even in the time of death, because Krishna is taking me to his spiritual world. So thus we see that for a devotee, all of these different understanding of time are on a much, much deeper and a higher level. So time is not just a terminator. Time is basically his takeoff to the spiritual world. Time is not an investment. Time is an opportunity to become an instrument of Krishna. Time is not just about memories. Time is an opportunity to meditate on Krishna, and time is not just an envoy. It is the embrace of Krishna. And for the gopis, Uddhava came as the messenger of Krishna, and Uddhava also looks like Krishna, is it not? So the time that we are having in this world, we have to see Krishna's hand in this time and hear Krishna's message through this time. And by this we can grow through the time that we have and go back to Godhead. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. So we went beyond time but thank you so much for allowing us to serve. Hare Krishna. Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki Jai, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.